Welcome to Milestones. Here we talk with creative, smart, interesting people about the businesses and projects they're working on. This is Mattia. He's a developer from Italy and one of the co-founders of Reweb.
Reweb is a visual website builder for developers. You can design your website, with pre-made templates and sections and drag and drop. But after you're done, you can actually export your website to code and just keep building without limitations. And the goal is to make it a tool that developers already know how to work with, because it's built on the technologies that they love and that they already use.
Since our conversation here, Reweb has evolved significantly. It's now sort of a combination between Cursor and Figma, where you can create interfaces and apps with AI, manually adjust them, and then export the code to your code base or the design directly to Figma. It's super impressive.
So we monetized it from day one. I decided I'm not gonna ship any more things without a buy button.
In our chat here, Mattia takes us through the experience starting and growing Reweb, his philosophy behind the product, monetization, growth, marketing, and how he sees it fitting into the workflows of modern builders. And it all started with him seeing a missing link after trying Webflow and Framer.
Yeah, it kind of came more from a personal experience. So I've been developing websites, coding websites for many years, and using technologies like Next.js, Tailwind, Shadcn, and I got pretty good at that. And at the same time, I was starting to see more the hype of no code tools or low code tools. So for example, Framer, Webflow, all those tools looked very interesting to me. Also, for the promise of building faster. The idea is okay, you can ship a lot faster with these tools because they come with pre-made sections. You can it's easier to design things. So yeah, I kind of tried some of these tools, but I was a bit disappointed. Not because they're not great tools. I actually think Webflow and Framer are really great, but I realized that those tools are taught more for designers than developers, or non-technical people, maybe marketing people, whatever. So I felt a bit constrained. I felt I was being forced to kind of think in a different meta model, in a designer mind, in a marketer mind, while I wanted as a developer to still think in a developer mind. So I was thinking, okay, this is great for non-technical people. Coding is great for technical people, but I think there is something in between that is still good. So the idea of Reweb is actually making something that feels like building fast as no code in a visual way, but behind the scenes is already code, and also it doesn't force me to think in a different mental model. I can just edit Tailwind classes directly from the interface. I can see the HTML structure. I can see the React components. So the interface is more developer friendly, and also I'm not kind of locked in on the platform. I can export the code and use it as a just a coding project, as I would do otherwise. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind it. Having something that allows me to build fast as with no code, allows me to have a more direct connection with what I'm building with this visual interface that changes what I do. I reflects my changes in real time, but still add the power of the code and still think as more as a developer.
Mattia then went deeper on the philosophy behind Reweb's editor, pulling on the approach of Brett Victor, one of the first interface and interaction designers for the iPad.
Another big source of inspiration for Reweb is basically, I don't know if you've ever seen this video called Inventing on Principle by Brett Victor. So basically, this is he's a computer scientist. He designed the first interface of the iPad, and he made this conference talk about his own principle in life, which is connecting people with their ideas. What he cares about is that the people should have a deeper connection with what they're creating. So for example, what he built this simple IDE where you just code and but in your code, instead of having to for example write a number, you can use kind of slider to adjust what you're seeing in real time, right? And that's kind of also like what I always wanted to do when I was building landing pages. It was like, why I have to go like back and forth between my code and what I see, and like, oh, I want to make the color a little bit more bright. I guess I go back to the code base and like guess a random value. Like I kind of want to drag things and see exactly what's happening, see exactly what I'm building. So this is like what it means to have like a direct connection with your idea. Like you make a change, you immediately see what's changing, and that's what was grabbing my attention from like tools like Figma, Framer. Like those kind of allow you to do that, and I wanted something like that, only like for a developer like me, for with my mental models, with like my tools that I like to use. So yeah, that's just some inspiration behind the idea that I guess I forgot to say.
How did you approach building the first version of Reweb?
We decided to with my co-founder to basically give us ourselves like a timeline. We were like, okay, 3 weeks. Let's see what we can do in 3 weeks. I think 3 weeks is a good time where like you can build like a good MVP, but it's just like not that much to like spend like waste a whole like waste so much time building to realize then maybe it's not worth it. So it's a good like balance in between. And we were like, okay, in 3 weeks we can probably like do something like that like is already valuable. So we gave ourselves like this timeline, and we built like a lot. Like we just logged in for 3 weeks, and yeah, indeed, like after 3 weeks, I felt like what we had was something like not perfect definitely, but it was already like it was something that I would already use myself, and I would already like find value in it. So we thought it was like good to launch it.
And how about testing? What was your approach for user feedback?
No, we didn't do any like. I just basically when it was done, I gave it to some friends. I literally like went to some friends like without telling them anything about the tool, and I was like, I gave them my laptop and I was like, oh, do something, and and I thought it was like there were obviously like bugs or like limitations, but it was like okay, it seems like someone can already use this, and we were like okay, like let's ship it. Like I don't know, I've never done like something like alpha testing like small groups, and just ship it to the public. We launched it on Twitter, and from then like yeah, we just kept going.
This next thing Matthias says is really interesting, and it's actually the opposite of what pretty much every other app and product does.
We basically shipped the product without even a landing page. And it's a bit controversial because we are like a landing page builder, but I wanted basically people to just land on the app and be able to use it immediately. Like no bullshit of like trying to sell it, trying to make it fancy, trying to like copywriting like techniques. We were like, okay, just land on the app and try it and see if you like it. So obviously like eventually we had to introduce a landing page. For example, like one reason is that obviously like a lot of people were coming from mobile, and like using such an app on mobile is impossible. So we were like kind of losing some traffic, but our idea at the beginning was like, okay, let's keep that part. Just like let's get people to the app. Let's see what they do with a bunch of analytics, and like and let's understand like if they like it. I think this can work when people come from like a place where they have some context. So this was obviously like our launch tweet. So in our launch tweet, we had like a nice video showing everything that you could do on the app, and we had like the tweet would explain a little bit. So I feel like when people landed on the app, they already knew kind of what to expect. Obviously, like if people just come from other sources, I don't know, like Google search or whatever, and they just find themselves like in this app with no explanation of what's going on, they're like scared probably, they don't know what to do. So yeah, I think like that's why this works at the beginning. I think it doesn't work forever, but since they were coming from like a tweet with like some context, it was actually people were like actually already playing around with it and like doing some cool things. We also had like a tutorial on the app that you could click and see a video tutorial where I will personally like explain how to do things. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I think I'm happy we launched it like in that way, because I really appreciate when like when tools just, go straight to the point. They just like show me, I'm big fan of like, show don't tell, just like just show me what you do, just let me use it instead of like having like such a big process before doing that. Yeah.
What was your approach to monetization, and how did you go about getting your first paying users?
Yeah, so we monetized it from day one. I decided like I'm not gonna ship any more things with like without a buy button, because because I mean it's our work, right? So yeah, we decided to monetize from day one. The way it works is that you can try pretty much everything in the app, but you get we charge you to export the code. So you can still like get a pretty good sense of like what the app like works like. You can actually like design your whole website like and like make it nice, see if you like the app or not. And then if you wanna like get the code, which is kind of the final step, then that's where we charge. And so it was like this from day one. It's still like this. And yeah, so the first revenue came from launch. Our launch went like pretty well. It actually went kind of viral on Twitter. We got like very good reach. So it's actually funny. Maybe I can talk about this, but like basically our launch initially completely flopped. Like we posted it on Twitter, and like the tweet was like super dead. And I think it was maybe because I put like a link to the product in the first tweet, which sometimes Twitter doesn't like. But I don't know. I'm not sure, because I also see other people doing it and doing well. But whatever, it didn't work for us. So we just like deleted it, and we were like, okay. I mean, disappointed, but what can we do? Like, let's post it again tomorrow. And the day after, like literally like the same tweet, but just like the link moved to the first reply, it blew up. And yeah, so basically only on the launch we got like 1,000 users to sign up, and we got like our first revenue from there.
So you've launched, you've got paying users. This is normally the time you start to get a lot of feedback and requests from users. How did that go?
Definitely, like we started to get a lot of feedback. Actually, one user was like, "Hey, do you guys have a Discord?" And we were like, "No, we didn't think about that, but let's make one right now." So we made a Discord and like tried to get people coming to into that server, so we could like like kind of be close to our users and like have very easy conversations with them. And that's where we started to receive like feedback. We sent some like forms, like surveys to ask for for feedback. And yeah, I think that's really important at early stage. Like try to be as like close to your users as possible. And even when everyone will sign up, or especially the ones who will uh, get the pro version of the product, I will always try to find their either the email that we had, or like even better, try to find their Twitter and like DM them and talk with them and understand like what they like, what they don't like. So that was very helpful. We knew that there was like a lot of stuff missing, so people like brought up even more stuff. So for example, uh, like the main thing that people were asking was just more sections, more pre-made blocks to build your website. We started with like basic library, but we wanted like people wanted like fancy animated stuff. But they wanted like more templates. Yeah, and they wanted to be able also to like maybe import components, import their existing projects, which is something that we do now. And yeah, what else? Oh, yeah, they were requesting. Well, the GitHub integration was very requestive. Like that's kind of something like kind of more complex that we'll do eventually. But yeah, I think like more sections was the main thing at the beginning. More flexibility in the editor. Like at the beginning, the editor was like less advanced than it's now. So now we added like some nice drag and drop and things like that. So yeah, it was like mainly more flexibility and more sections and templates to get started from.
And is this Discord your main channel for communicating with users?
Yeah, so Discord is the main thing that we have for this. So there is like some channels for so there is one channel dedicated to the pro users, so that gets like priority support. But we also have like channels for like anyone who wants to join, also for like support. So yeah, just uh always, and my our DMs are always open, so I users even DM us sometimes for help. So like Discord like, is the main support channel. I just like talk a lot with them. Like I now it's starting to get higher because luckily we have our customers, the number of customers is growing. But initially I'm like very obsessed with knowing as much as I can about every customer. So I have like literally like for every customer who signs up, I put it like in a Notion database where like I try to like I literally stalk them on the web. I just like try to find, you know, what they do, and ideally find like a social media so I can like chat with them, because email is usually like doesn't have like that high response rate. So I just try to find their Twitter, talk with them, like ask them, you know, why did you even sign up? What do you do? What would you use if you weren't using Reweb? So all these questions to try to understand like who they are, what they need. Yeah. So yeah, I you know, I think it's about like especially early stage. I try to make friends with them. You know. Yeah.
What are your marketing channels? How do you approach marketing and getting new users for Reweb?
Yeah. Yeah, so for now it's actually been like mainly Twitter. Like surprisingly it's been working very, very well for us. So we just post a lot, like basically every new feature, like I post on like a video explaining, like showing what it does. So I think like Twitter is nice because first as like a very tech oriented audience, so we are targeting developers. So there is obviously like it's obviously good for us to post there. And I don't know, I've been like seeing that like maybe it's only my feed, I don't know, because I'm into this stuff, but like very visual stuff goes very well on Twitter. Like nice posts like of, you know, the nice fancy landing page, or like showing how you edit this component. Those kind of videos go very well. And that's perfect because our tool is like inherently visual. So I'm seeing like that this goes pretty well. And so yeah, Twitter has been working very good, but like we definitely like don't want to like limit ourselves to only that. I think Twitter is like very great place to get the first users to, if you're lucky to like get even past that, but like it's not gonna work forever and it's not gonna allow you to like scale that much. So yeah, we're starting to do like other forms of marketing. So we're in touch with like some influencers on like Instagram that they do like design content or coding content, and so we want to do some like short form videos with them. We're like thinking about doing some partnerships. I can't say too much about that, but like, yeah, we already have like some partnership ideas going on with like other, you know, UI libraries in the space, or like other front end tooling. So that'd be cool to like do some integrations, do like some marketing together. We we also tried some like Reddit posts at the beginning, but you know, nothing crazy from there. Like we didn't like double down on it too much. But yeah, we're also starting to do some like setting up like a referral system, so people that can just, you know, refer friends and like earn a commission. And yeah, we're all so another thing that we want to do that we're starting to think about is like to scale more like in the B2B sector. So like right now our customers are more like indie developers, you know, indie hackers, like generally like mostly like solo people, like very small teams or like solo developers. And but we see how this could be helpful also for like startups or teams. So we want to like try to approach more teams as well. So we're also doing some like some cold outreach, some email outreach, so some LinkedIn outreach, and start to talk with companies and understand how we can help companies as well. And I think that's another way that we can probably scale.
How do you define success with Reweb and stuff you build in general?
I think it's two main things. One, like making it like profitable, sustainable, so like you can like basically pay myself, my co-founder, and potentially like a small team, and like just basically like make it like a good source of income. And but more so, I think is creating like something like they like gets widely adopted in like in the front end and like design space. I would love to build something that kind of maybe becomes one of the default ways that people bring use to build web interfaces. So like yeah, becoming like a recognized tool in the space, I think is more like what I'm going for. What I love to do is basically to like create tools for creatives. Like that's what Reweb is in the end. So I like to create tools that other people can use to express their creativity, their ideas, to build things. So nothing can make me more happy than like seeing people building cool stuff with thanks to a tool that I built. So my legacy will be kind of that, like seeing that like Reweb becomes something that is like a well-known tool in the front end and design industry to build websites, and like seeing like cool startups building on it basically. Yeah.
I think one of my biggest takeaways from this conversation with Mattia is how close he stays to his paying users, how he messages them on Twitter, how he keeps them all in the Notion database, and does everything he can to find out how he can help them in the best way. I also love how he monetized from day one, even without a landing page, putting site visitors directly into the app right away. This is only half of our full conversation. If you'd like to hear a whole lot more from Mattia, head over to milestones.so. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
So initially we were like pushing a lot to monthly subscriptions or yearly subscriptions, but but we then realized that like due to the nature of our product, which basically like since it gives you the code, it doesn't lock you in, it doesn't force you to keep using the app, which is kind of also what we want to do. A lot of people were like buying the monthly subscription and then like churning like as soon as they didn't need it anymore, right? So